All right, so this was a kitchen slash kind of main floor remodel that we did for a young family in the Mount Baker area of Seattle.
Beautiful.
This is just another view looking towards the backyard of the home. One of the ideas that they came to us with was they really, whenever we did for a kitchen, was they really wanted to get an island into their kitchen. So ultimately we were able to get that installed there.
You can see that there's a lot of colors, a lot of earthy colors, very, nature driven. This family has a background of doing a lot of Legos, so it was Lego inspired. And I guess one of the homeowners, the mom wanted really bright, vibrant colors, and the dad was not really into that. So the designer really helped kind of, question them, see what they wanted, and created this design as a result of what everybody wanted.
This is the existing floor plan for the home. So as we walk through here on this presentation, I'll talk a little bit about the entry into the home, the living room space, a little bit about the family room. This was really an untapped room for them, and how it really was kind of disconnected from the rest of the home, and kind of how we achieved making this more integrated. And then these areas here that have the clouds around them, these are walls that we took care of or demoed or moved slightly. We didn't do a whole lot of movement of walls on this project, but the few changes that we made had huge impact on the project. And then this is what we ended up with here on the existing. So as you can see, the layout stays pretty much the same. But it's really just the few tweaks that we make that really make this space a lot better than it was previously.
Gave it kind of more of an open concept flow.
Yeah. So when the homeowners came to us, they were talking about wanting to potentially add square footage to the home. So they had this large backyard. This is the back of their house here, as well as they also have this basement space. There's some stairs down to a basement, which was you see a dirt floor basement. Had quite a bit of height in it, but it still needed to be dug out. So one of the possibilities was, do we dig out this basement, or do we do an addition out the back? And the more that we started listening to them, really started understanding that it really wasn't square footage that they needed, but more usable space within the existing footprint of the home. One of the benefits of not having to do an addition, so construction in general will add about 11% to carbon CO2 emissions worldwide on a yearly basis. So if as much as we can try to reduce the impact on that, the better off we're all going to be. So by not having to do the addition on the home really helped us minimize the footprint that we were going to leave as part of the remodel.
Welcome, Greg.
When we first, go through the process with our homeowners, we really want to understand what it is that they're going to be doing and what they're hoping to get out of the project. And as we kind of go through, they get to understand more what it is that they want. I get to understand more what they want as well for their remodel. As part of this process, before we get started, we're asking our homeowners to give us, some examples of what it is that they're hoping to achieve, so that we can pass this information on to the guys who are actually doing the work in the field. Just allows them to have a little bit more connection with our homeowners as they're working on their projects. So on this particular project, the homeowners painted one of the walls just prior to it being demoed. This was the idea behind it is just give us some ideas of kind of what it is that you're hoping to get out of the space, and allowed us just to kind of, take photos of it and have it as reference as we kind of go through the project, as well as a reflection at the end to see, did we achieve everything that we're hoping for. You'll see here in this photo how big the dog is. And she is a huge part of their family, and really was incorporated and thought through how she would be part of this remodel as well as just, games, friends, family, cooking, desserts, those types of things. So,
Nice.
so as part of this remodel, you'll see here, this is actually a dog kennel that we created, and really allowed us to get the kennel that was an intrusion into the kitchen dining space, as well as moving, throughout the living room if they were in different rooms or something, so that Sophie always had a bed to go to where they were. This allowed us to keep it a little bit more centered in the home, as well as keep it out of the way and become more of a focal piece for the design. Homeowners really like to do Lego projects, so this was just a great way for them to display some of their creations. Constantly changes on a monthly basis as to what their projects are, so it's kind of a cool feature for them to be able just to display what they're doing, as well as give them cabinetry in this living room that is great usable storage. The entryway into the home was a real impedance. You'll see here we have this half wall, and as you would walk through the front door, you would run right into this half wall, as well as this wall here on the left hand side, and it created a space that it was not inviting as you stepped in through the front door, and it wasn't very functional as it was being used. So we were able to help fix some of the problems with that in our design, as well as fix some of the visual imbalance within the room. We had a lot of different types of millwork that were abutted next to each other, and one of the things I kept hearing the homeowners say was there's not flow in the house, and so the goal was really, how do we create that flow, both in use of the space as well as how it visually feels when you walk into this space. Another example of poor flow is just this floor here, where we go from a wood floor into this vinyl floor, which then goes into a different floor as you go into the bathroom. So it was just this little island of kind of weirdness in the floors, and visually stopped your view from going through into the space. So what we ended up doing was really taking that little wing wall down, really opened up that space a lot, as well as creating more functionality in the space with a little bench and some coat hooks and a cabinet to be able to put stuff away. So it wasn't a huge change, minimal amount of money to be able to have this really high impact on the home as you entered.
Now, Paul, can you jump back to that half wall photo?
That one there.
Yeah, this one there.
Yeah.
Well, if you open up the picture, you can see the before of that space.
Yeah.
You can see on the left-hand side that there's no bench, no cabinetry. It was a little bit of wasted space. And just by opening up that entryway and having those seats made it a lot more functional. I just wanted them to see that before photo.
Yeah. Refinished all the wood floors throughout the home. So used the low VOC water-based finish. And you'll see here too, so wood floors, we ended up removing that vinyl and ran those wood floors through. You'll see the finish grill on the wall here as well for the HVAC system. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. This is a look at the original dog kennel wall. They just had a piece of furniture there, and ultimately we're able to use that entire wall for functionality.
It seems like the space before was very useless. Yeah. I would just walk by that all the time. So now at least it's very functional and has a lot more use out of it. Compared to
you'll notice as we kind of walk through this design here too. There's some pieces that were pulled together to again kind of create that connection between all of the rooms. So I'm just going to point out the drapery here as well as the blues and the carpets and how that makes that connection in through. We get the kind of peekaboo view here of the backsplash into the kitchen. So there was definitely a thought out process that we went through to make that connection between all the rooms, and you'll see this kind of carry through into the dining space as well as we go through. One of the things the homeowners had mentioned to us during the course of their remodel was that, the master bedroom doesn't get a lot of heat, and can you guys just take a look at it? One of the things that we found was there was some crushed pipe up in the attic space that was allowing them to heat the attic space and not the master bedroom. So just this small change is going to have a dramatic effect on the heat in that room, as well as they're not going to be heating the attic space anymore, or pulling dust into the system as well from this attic space. So it's going to make it more efficient as well as a healthier space, just with this small change to some damage that was in the attic. So this is the HVAC supply system. You'll note that I pointed out kind of that grill on the wall. So this is where the return air used to be for the HVAC system. So we moved it to the sidewall to create a healthier living space. So just having this here in the floor, when I pulled the grill on that, it was full of all kinds of nastiness. So whether it was, dog hair or other bits of dust and all kinds of I don't know, maybe some food or something was in there as well. So having it in that sidewall is going to create a much healthier home for them. So this is our new laundry room. This is what we started out with. So the single door with the washer and dryer kind of off to the side, was super tight, cords kind of running all over the wall, not very clean. We were able to open this up by adding just a second door, so creating a French door type scenario to really open up the room. The cabinets in here were repurposed from the kitchen, so we painted those and installed the cabinets that were still in good shape in this space. The countertops were repurposed from the peninsula in the original kitchen. And one of the concerns with the homeowners was, we have our washer and dryer in here. They had a leak with the original washer that was replaced, and it had damaged the floor in the laundry room. So there was concern about, should it ever get wet? What are the implications? So we installed a LVT Green Guard certified click flooring just in this space, as well as we installed a washer or a clothes washer pan on the underside. So the clothes washer itself is piped to this pipe that you see here on the outside of the house. So should it ever leak, the water will go and run through that pipe and then to the outside. So the idea being that water then is mitigated from getting on the floor. There's also a water sensor installed in this pan. So should it ever get wet, the homeowners will be notified that there's water. Typically, during the course of the year, we're doing several remodels as a result of a clothes washer leaking, a dishwasher leaking, or a refrigerator leaking. So this is just one of the ways we can help kind of mitigate future damage, especially when you're spending, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars on a remodel. This is our original kitchen. You'll see we have this massive refrigerator here on the right-hand side. It was overpowering in the room and really unusable with how it was laid out on the interior space. So as well as it created these weird kind of blind corner voids that just, allowed them to store stuff, but it was out in the open and it wasn't very usable. And ultimately, this is what we ended up with by reconfiguring the space, getting an island put in, really just reimagining. One of the things that the homeowners had written on the note or on the photo of the painting of the wall that they had done was everything has its place and everything's put in its place. So it was really thought out in the cabinetry details as to what was going to go where. within the space and how they were going to put it away. So that process really helps a lot as you're really thinking about what it is that you want to store, and how you're going to fit that within your cabinetry.
Welcome, Amanda.
This is a photo of behind the wall on the range wall. So what we have here is wool insulation that we installed. The idea with wool insulation is that it's going to be equivalent to, say, a fiberglass bat insulation, or another bat or blown in type of product. So you're still going to get the same R value out of it, but what the benefits are of wool is it's going to help neutralize VOCs within the home, so it will absorb those and help clean the air of the home. And even doing just a small wall can have a tremendous impact on the interior chemicals that it's able to reduce, as well as it helps absorb moisture within the wall cavity. So that creates a healthier space within the home. And then at the end of its life, it is a biodegradable product. So should it ever have to be removed. And again, this is our wall that we were working on. One of the issues that we ran into, you'll see these are new 2x4s on this wall, running vertical. This wall was really out of plumb. And so as we were thinking about how we were going to install these cabinets, we ended up kind of reframing the wall in order to make it efficient once it came time for us to install these cabinets and for everything to go together as it needed to. Some of the questions that people have asked too, like, are these Energy Star appliances? So yes, the refrigerator is an Energy Star appliance, and the dishwasher is. The range that we used was a reused reused gas range. So that was already in the home. And the exhaust fan, I am not positive on. I could not find the spec on that. As we were opening up walls, we found that some rodents had made their way into the walls, and we were able to get that cleaned up, sealed off, so that the homeowners did not have to deal with that again once we sealed the wall back up. So this will help create, again, a more better air quality within the home, so we're not having to deal with all of this mess that they had created in the wall cavities and that getting recirculated throughout the house.
And then you filled any holes that they may have entered. Is that
That's correct? Right. Yeah.
I have a question here. Does wool also help prevent rodents? Do you know that, Paul?
Not to my knowledge. I don't believe it helps actually keep rodents out of the wall.
Okay.
The backsplash within the home. So that was, or within the kitchen, it's a 33% mix of blue tiles. Kind of gave us that earthy feel. Really tried to incorporate some universal design features into this as well. So the microwave was set within the island. Having it lower allows for all ages of the home to be able to use it. So whether it's a child or an older adult who maybe is in a wheelchair, and then anybody in between as well. So it's a thought out piece that really can allow whether the occupants of the home or visitors to the home to continue to be able to use this space.
Yeah, and it also has a great value. It adds value to the home, because then later down the road, you have less, construction later by having placed that where it is today.
Low VOC paints were used throughout. The kitchen faucet was a water sense faucet. And the cabinetry that we used is through a company called Elias Woodwork. They're out of Canada. They make what are called RTA, or ready to assemble cabinets. It's similar to, say, an IKEA cabinet, but a little bit more, it's going to be more durable and also very customized So we're able to build the cabinets to whatever spec that we want. They're a plywood cabinet, so it's going to be extremely durable. The paint finish is awesome on them as well. So you can paint them whatever color you want. So it allowed us some flexibility when we were, say, up against issues with budget. So it allowed us a little bit more flexibility within what we could do within the design, and give us some money to use elsewhere. And I'm going to point this wall out here. So this was a wall that was kind of a point of contention during the design, and I'll talk about this a little bit later as we go through a couple things. But we ended up installing this pantry cabinet here as a result of kind of some of the things I'll explain here in a moment. So this is that wall I was just speaking of. You'll see some holes here at the top. What we were doing was exploring this beam that runs across here. We really wanted to get rid of this wall. Ultimately, we found that the bearing point for this beam was on the edge of the wall. It did not transfer back through into the outside wall. So as a result of the cost implications of redoing that beam, we decided we were going to go ahead and leave this as it is and incorporate it into the design. So it changed a little bit with how we wanted to make that connection, but ultimately I think it ended up being a great solution, and again, saved on the budget for the project. And you'll see here, this is that countertop that I was talking about in the laundry room that we ended up salvaging, as well as some of these upper cabinets. Oh yeah, and then this is the view from where we were just looking at. Again, we were able to get rid of that peninsula and basically turn it 90 degrees and install an island in the space and get rid of that awkward refrigerator that was in there. This is the dining area. The installation of a bench in a dining area is a great use of space to get additional seating, as well as allow you just to have some space saving measures. When we were originally having meetings with them, they had a table in this corner and we had chairs, around it, but it was really crammed in there and was not a comfortable space to sit. This allows for the space just to be much more comfortable and inviting for everybody to sit around. You'll see the dog here on the floor. Her kennel used to be over here in this general area off to the left of the table. And it was, again, just an awkward use of space. Within the bench itself, we have storage within inside. So you lift the lid and be able to, store games or whatever. So again, storage was at a premium in their home, and we really tried to incorporate that everywhere that we could. As well as outlets, thinking about how they were going to continue to use this space, whether it was a working space or not. This allows them to plug their laptop in and be able to use the space for work. I talked a little bit previously about the connection of colors. So you'll see the blues here within the pillows and the seat cushion. Again, that just makes that connection all the way through. So once we enter the front door, all the way through into the back of the home. And then just efficiency of pillows. You have kids and animals and pillows end up on the floor. So this is something our designer came up with to help keep the back pillows of the bench in place as well. This is that photo of the wall for what they were hoping to achieve on the project. I think we achieved, if not everything, almost everything on this project. So it's just a wonderful space for them to really enjoy. This is the wall that they were actually that we actually redid, that they had painted previously.
I don't know if I would be calling it a little bit of a stretch, but the biophilic design kind of reminds me of how the whole home is a bit earthy and connected to nature. I wouldn't call it full-on biophilic design, but it is similar. It has those that biophilic essence with having nature throughout and being very earthy and connected to nature, I've noticed.
Yeah, this is the homeowner and her pup here, using the workspace.
And this presentation is also going to be, I'm going to drop a link in the chat. So you guys can refer to this presentation at a later date if you wanted to get more information on this, or the link to our house website. I just dropped it in the chat for your reference if you want to refer to this later.
And then, yeah, so if you have, you'll have access to this, and there'll be a link here to our house site as well. If you have more questions about this project, you should be able to find information there. And then we'll also be on the tour next week too, with a basement remodel. If you have, if you're able to attend that, we'd love to see you. Thank you for everybody who's gone through this whole presentation with me. I know a few of you kind of jumped in the middle, and I can certainly circle back and or answer any questions that you might have as well.
I have one.
Yeah,
It looks like maybe someone else does. In one of the presentations last week, I think they said one way you could save on a kitchen remodel was by using standard cabinet sizes. Is that correct? Is this?
It helps. Yeah. So in this case, we're so with this cabinet. So if we needed, say, a 24-inch cabinet, but we wanted to cut that cabinet down, they don't charge us anymore. We just pay for the 24-inch cabinet. So that was part of the offset that we had with this, is we didn't have to customize the cabinets as much. But that in general, that is a rule of thumb, that if you stayed with more standard cabinets, it does help.
All right. Okay. But this Elias system that you were talking about sort of makes that a bit of a moot point. Is
That's
that
right.
what I mean? Okay. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thanks.